Let me cover him up with a blanket. Cover him up. Close the door. Close the door. Door's closed.
Check 1 2 check. Stand by if you're watching this on YouTube. Brian's his dog, who I love very much, but just decides to bark incessantly for no reason at all. Usually it's on nights when I'm stressed for time and I have to be somewhere.
Sure.
Usually that's his.
He knows. You know when you go blind, other senses get heightened. He knows you're getting fucked. So
he does. I thought we had a good relationship, Charlie and I.
In his blindness, he senses ways to fuck you over.
Why is he blind?
I don't know.
I'm not a dog eye expert. Let's go, Brian. We can start without you.
Because Brian is being punished.
Poor Brian can't win. I'm yelling about the dog, so he goes to take care of it, and then I'm like, we're going to start without you. And then the dog continues to bark when he comes back. No?
Do you want to just put Charlie on the mic and you could lay in the other room?
Sounds like what's going on.
He's probably got some good locks.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop.
I was told we were ready to go.
No, I won't stop. All right, let's go. Let's rock.
Right.
Check 1 2 check 1 2.
5 for the 1.
Yep.
Yep, film up. Welcome everyone to the Film Vault. Anderson. I'm Brian Bishop. We're your hosts for today. Gonna flick fast some movies, a couple of signed movies, one very popular in the box office, and of course one nominated for an Oscar. We'll get to all that, and coming up later, the big Oscar locks episode. Yes, if you want to know 5 to 10 Oscar categories, they've got a lot of lock. They will not lose. We are usually good for 4 out of those 5.
That's not true. We're usually good for 5 of
I
5.
know, we're usually good for 5.
Come on now, Brian. A little early for the self-deprecation, especially when you're involving me.
It's a good point.
Keep it to yourself.
We'll
there,
give
Johnny.
you a 5 to 10 winners.
Yes.
We might double up.
We could. I have a feeling we probably will. Not important, though. What's important is to get to the show. I say for this here Flickfession episode where we get right into it, we talk movies, we get right into it. And for the next episode.
Let's stretch out, man. Let's stretch out and enjoy ourselves.
We're going to enjoy ourselves on the next one even more so because usually when it's top 5 locks, it's just like, all right, here's my pick. Kind of here's why. The other movies aren't as good. Let's go.
We tend to breeze through them.
Yeah, so I have some stuff I'd like to talk about at the top, but we're going to save that for the next program. You hear what I'm saying? Does it make sense to you?
Love it.
Do you see what I'm doing?
You're bringing topics to the show?
I always do.
Bringing topics.
I want to talk to Avery about his favorite cringe lines. I don't know why we didn't talk about it. It was his topic last week, and he didn't even give me one or two of
your
favorite.
No, he didn't.
Oh,
He had
yeah.
a clip.
Clips. Humpty Dumpty sound on the wall.
Of course he did.
The worst.
Do we ever any clarity on
Apologies.
that? Did anyone ever say like, oh yeah, that was added for the DVD release or something?
No, I didn't hear anything about it. So if any listeners have any sort of scoop on that, or if Gio wants to throw a Hail Mary since he's the knower of all things.
Also,
I'm dying to know why that's the
why?
one
Why does that
the
exist?
one poor choice in the entire movie.
the one. The only? Okay.
I think so.
Movie. That's actually one of the more solid ones.
Okay. All right. Thanks for your email, Avery. And then also I'd like to talk about some of the comments that I saw on the message boards over there on Patreon pertaining to our episode, but it mainly became all about Avery. So we'll talk about that on the next episode.
Oh boy!
And then also just a little precursor, one last plug for our live watch along of the Oscars coming up here.
Oh yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad you brought that up because there are people who are wondering on our Facebook, on our Reddit.
Yes, I will be there for part of it.
Oh,
Part.
we're trying to sell this thing, Avery.
I'm telling Fred.
They want to know if the Oscar pool is free to everyone and the watch along is free to everyone. So clear it all up.
Yeah, everyone can play along and have their Oscar pool, and the winner will become a decider. You get to decide a topic for us in an upcoming episode. We have discretion to say no, thank you. We're not going to be doing top 5. Sure. There's many things that we probably want to do, but yeah, the winner will ostensibly be
top 5
decider.
annoying minorities. You can't do that. If you try to do that, we'll not do it. I'm just saying. You might want to. I'm just saying we're not going to do it.
And then, so that's free for everybody who would like to enter that. And then if you would like to watch along in the privacy of my own home, where my wife sleeps, where my children come and play with their toys in my home.
I need to bring better headphones for this episode.
Yeah, you should do
I
that.
got to hear what's said.
We'll be hanging out on the couch. I guess Avery will be there as well. And I only have 2. Well, I'll figure it out. I only have 2 lavaliers, but we'll figure this out.
I can not be there as well.
Oh, you're not going to be there?
I could.
Oh,
if
no,
there
you
might be.
might be on the
it's up to you.
grapevine.
It's completely up to
You
you.
might be stuck in
If you're
Sacramento.
going to be watching the Oscars.
That might be a skeleton on
That's
the
right.
side of the road.
So that's for the $10 assigner level. We did it last year for everybody just to give everyone a taste of what those things are like. And Logan was there with us. This year, we're going to be doing just
Oh, yeah, I forgot Logan was there.
for the people that I like to get a little loose. You know what I mean? If there's a whole bunch of people watching, it's a larger audience.
I'm going to be honest. This is
More
for,
guarded.
This is for the elite.
It's for the people that really enjoy what we do.
Oh, boy.
That's
No.
what it's for.
Not discerning. Oh, yes, this will be our monthly watch along for the month of March. Did you mention that?
Yeah, it will
Yeah,
be
sorry, I missed that.
our watch along rather than watching a movie, which we've done, I guess, 12 times or so now in the last 12 months. All right.
Yeah, probably.
So let's hear a little flick show.
What have the people seen, Avery?
Little fanfiction compiled by the Mitch Burns. Ken Diesel on Reddit. I love that. Ken Diesel.
That better be his real name.
Did you get it? Creed 3.
Oh, wait a minute. You see the trailer for the new one?
It's not as good as
Get out of here. Please, everyone stop.
It's not,
Okay.
I mean, how do you top going to space?
You don't?
Creed 3. I'm all in on this franchise,
I'm
but I
surprised
loved it.
not a multiverse for Fast and Furious. You know what I
We're
mean?
getting there.
I was saying, like younger Dom comes out. Anyway, God.
There'll be one where they just hate family. They're like, fuck family.
I'm all against family.
Fast 11, divorce. I'm all in on this franchise, but I loved it. MBJ was
wait,
great
what?
again. I don't
This
know.
is Creed, I assume.
I'm all in.
I think
but
he means he's a fanboy, but I don't know. Michael B. Jordan was great again, and I thought he did some fun stuff in the director's seat this time. Story felt like a better Tommy Gun and Majors.
Tommy Gunn? Wow, I didn't see that. You know what that is?
No, I don't.
It's Rocky 5. He's the sort of the villain in Rocky 5. The heavy.
Deep pulled in.
Tommy Gunn.
Tommy Gun and Majors was a great antagonist, though I'm still not sure why people won't stop talking about it. No FVT score.
That's upsetting.
Fred said no. Alex Driver on Twitter. Operation Fortune.
Ooh.
Spend a little time with your family by perhaps playing a game of Operation instead.
What? Really?
That's what he says.
The new Guy Ritchie movie. I'm a little bit ashamed of myself for having seen Creed 3 rather than a new Guy Ritchie movie, but that's the world we live in, where I have to watch the biggest box office movie rather than what I want to watch.
Hans Brochschmiffen on Twitter. Athena, Netflix, fucking awesome. There's so much going on visually in the long oneer in the opening sequence. I mean, it just keeps going. Mesmerizing.
It's true.
Living in St. Paul, Minnesota, this story really hit home.
Ooh.
I'm going to be thinking about this film for a long time.
Makes sense.
Okay.
And finally, from Mitch, I watched Close, up for international film.
Oh, boy.
I think Brian discussed it and didn't love it, but I absolutely loved it.
Mitch, you're snowed in. You have nothing else to do. All you do is look around and it's white.
Brian, or you've come a long way with watching movies, but you still fumble quite a bit.
You think so?
I have a feeling you
Have
fumble
you seen
with Close.
Close?
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, I hope you see it.
$20 right now. There's many other things that I should watch. I'm not going to spend $20.
I went to the theater to see this fucking thing. Anyway, what does Mitch say?
Found it to be incredibly emotional, touching, and absolutely beautiful.
Is boredom an emotion?
Wasn't bored for a second, he says.
How dare you, Mitch? I sent you a book.
For a second. Maybe I connected with it on a different level.
Sounds as though.
Was the snip included?
No, but it felt appropriate.
Thank you, Avery, and thank you for everyone who sent us in what you watched, and thank you, Mitch, for compiling as you do week in, week out. And now let's get to the bevy of movies that we have seen, Brian. We have a strong collection.
Indeed.
I think we have a little something for almost everybody.
Not enough Oscar films for my taste, but we'll make it work.
Are you serious?
I just have one.
Really?
Well, so do you.
I don't know what do I have. I think I have a couple.
Really?
I don't know. Okay. Let's get to it.
We have two assigned films. We have Creed, and we got.
That's true. Yeah. Okay, let's get to it.
Yeah.
Did you see the same Oscar nominated film as I did?
I did. I saw it today.
Excited to talk to you about
It's
that
available
one.
to rent.
Yes.
All of a sudden.
All the beauty and the bloodshed. Do we start there? We start with Creed 3. Creed 3 in theaters
Is
now.
it in theaters now. 2023 film, Creed 3, directed by Michael B. Jordan, as mentioned. Starring Michael B. Jordan.
As the
Titular 3. Tessa Thompson, Jonathan Majors, who you might remember from the recent Ant-Man, Oblivion, or whatever the fuck it was called. No, Quantum Mania.
Quantum of Solace.
Oh, fuck. I got that wrong.
It's Quantumania.
Felicia Rashad, also in this. 87% of Rotten Tomatoes in theaters now. I never saw Creed 2. Did you see Creed 2? I never.
I did.
Okay.
I remember.
I don't know if I did.
I don't
I
feel
can't
like-
for the life of me remember.
I was able to follow this pretty clearly. I got the idea. I don't think I
Were
missed
you?
too much.
Proud of you.
I don't think I missed too. I was confused a couple of times only. Creed 3.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
All right.
I feel what this is in my opinion, a admirable Is this Jordan's directing debut?
I believe so.
If it is, it's an admirable debut. It's mostly right down the middle. Exactly what you want for a movie like this. It's a bit of a throwback to those like silly Rocky movies of the '80s. There's some just absurd plot points.
Yeah, it was that, but in the best possible way.
Yeah,
and
but it was
I kind
done
of wish
well.
that they left it in there instead of trying to come out, and they did that thing where they kind of had one foot in
Right.
two different films, and I didn't love that. I wanted to love this movie. I wanted to just be all in with the silliness of it and just the over the top. Hey, it's like it's two like heavyweights fighting. Like we hate one and we love the other, and it's just like fucking go.
But get
go.
this, they're childhood
People
friends.
applauding in the audience, and
There
there
was
was
people
some of
applauding
that.
in
There
the
was
audience.
there was some of that, but
didn't
then
like it.
I could see where it was going, and we're gonna have to do a little bit of a spoiler discussion here for me to really get into my big problems with the movie, where didn't allow me to love it. However, I gotta say that Majors was great. I mean, he was a great heel.
Yes.
For somebody who followed wrestling growing up, Brian, that's you. You know what it's like to really hate the villain, right?
Yes, but to your point, he had one foot in, the movie did, but he did also. He had one foot in that great, Mr. T heel category.
Yes.
Then at the other sense, it was a very grounded character. Like he had an arc you could kind of follow and sympathize with, and it was, I don't know, both are good, but both together are not good.
I don't want to say bad. It was an enjoyable movie. I couldn't give it what it was asking me to give ultimately, and because of where we are, and with Michael B. Jordan being a first-time director, and having this character that he has to do right by, and having almost a responsibility, like a moral responsibility, to say something more than like good guy, bad guy, and that's kind of the world we live in. It would be a little bit irresponsible to give the movie to me that I wanted. You know what I mean?
But yes, I know exactly what you mean. But again, by the end of the movie, it had its foot in both arenas. Like, it wasn't a coincidence that the good guy wore white trunks with white gloves and the bad guy wore black trunks with black gloves. It was just a classic, white hat, black hat. And did you notice, and did it bother you, in the third act, I feel like Michael B. Jordan, the director, got a little over his skis. Like, it was a little bit...
You talking about the prison?
No, I was talking. Well, no, I was talking more about the final showdown between the two. It was a lot of fantastical elements. That I would have liked.
I think that we're talking about the same thing. You're
Okay.
just not picking up what I'm putting down. Yeah.
I would have liked a little more straightforward.
There's no way that you're a first-time director with this kind of a budget and you don't have a lot of help. And he did, and I think that he swung for the fences, and for the most part, I think that he connected.
It's
great.
a double off the wall. This is a solid movie.
It looked really, really good.
Yeah.
Like, there was some lighting and some CGI help that they obviously got that looked fantastic. And seeing Dodger Stadium like that and have it all lit up around as well. Like, I'd never really seen Dodger Stadium lit so and looked so good. I'm sure a lot of it was CGI, but
Sure.
it didn't. It looked surreal. A lot of scenes looked surreal. There's a lot of really interesting things that he did in the ring, which we've seen so many boxing movies now, and going way back to Raging Bull. I mean, Scorsese and what they were doing with the handheld stuff inside the ring, like, it's from way back then. They were doing things that were like incredible. We've seen so much since. He was still doing some things that I hadn't seen before. Like, there's an early scene where he's like, you can get almost like a Spider-Man sense that he can see super quick, and he could see his opening, but he took a few more punches before he finally made his move. That was really effective and really good.
Well, if you picked up, boxing is not about the strength, the violence. It's about timing.
It is. I heard that a few times in this movie. I liked all the characters. I didn't really love anyone other than Dame. Dame was my favorite by far and away. I loved him.
Was the sign language thing from the previous movie, or was that this movie?
Creed 2, from my recollection, was very dramatic and a lot about family. And don't recall even. And sorry, apologies, but a lot of times these types of movies, these big movies, don't really stick with me. I know I saw it. I remember which theater I saw it in, but I can't remember much about the movie. But I believe that's where the sign language and the daughter who's hard of hearing comes into play, and that just seems like a device to soften a character up more than anything else.
I don't know. I can't speak to it.
But Michael B. Jordan was fantastic. All the characters were great, and I would have liked Dame to go a little harder. I don't even know if we have to do a spoiler on this. I feel like we tiptoed around it, and I kind of pretty much said as much. At times, I was absolutely loving this movie, and it's my favorite I've seen Majors. It's my favorite role, and I think the first time we saw him was in White Boy Rick, and then we saw him in The Last Black Man in San Francisco. He was really good in that. But he's like a black Tom Hardy. You know what this movie is? This movie is so Warrior. It's very, very like a lot like Warrior.
Yeah, it's fair.
Starring Tom Hardy, but his sneer is just fucking great. There's this one great scene where it ends with you got Creed on one side and Damian Anderson on the other. Diamond Dame. And they're separated by a wall. There's a 2-shot, so they can't see each other, but they both stop and sense each other and kind of look over each other's shoulder like, I don't really trust this guy. It's a great fucking shot. And
there's some really good stuff in this movie.
I think what you're talking about is there's, the big showdown that everyone kind of expects. This movie is incredibly telegraphed, and you can't avoid it with a movie like this, and you got to forgive it, right?
It's a fucking Rocky movie.
But they took some chances, and I wasn't sure if it was working, and I was thinking a lot, is this working or not? Which kind of tells me that maybe it's not. But people went away in the audience, and bars came into play. You know what I'm talking about?
Sure.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about, right?
Fantastical. Yeah, that and what Dodger Stadium sort of became during their fight.
When all the snakes started coming out of
the
entrances.
How was that not distracting?
Yeah. Fire pit opened up. Satan himself showed up. That was strange.
Or to hell. The gods from
I think
Cabin in the Woods.
They were concerned that we still didn't know who was good and who was bad, so that's why the Dame had to have Satan in his corner.
Yeah, literally, I could mopping him down. Say, "Come on, champ."
We had Jesus over there with Apollo, or not Apollo, Adonis.
Donnie.
I like Creed 3. Walking out, it's still early enough. We tend to see these movies opening weekend, so we get to hear with pretty robust audiences. A lot of people were loving this movie as I was walking out.
It's a crowd pleaser.
They were talking about, this is my favorite. It's my favorite of the 3 by far.
Yeah, sure.
I just would have liked to see Dame go harder, but ultimately, that beach scene was fucking great. It's just
really,
I liked it.
I thought it was a little forced.
Oh, it was for sure. But I mean, that's what I wanted the movie to be. I
I'm
wanted
glad
the
we're
whole
on the
movie to
same
be
page.
that.
You know what? You're right. More of that would have been a little more to sink your teeth into.
But if I had to see this again, I wouldn't be like completely bummed. Like if I was going out to see some friends and it's like, what are we doing tonight? Oh, we're going to see that again. All right, what the fuck? Let's do it.
Fun movie.
They soft pedaled the music though too. It's like just you're part of the Rocky universe. Just use the music. They barely used it at the end. You could hear it a little bit faintly in the background. They're kind of like...
Yeah, at the end, you're right. Then also, this movie is not so subtly female erotica. Or should I say erotica for anyone who enjoys the male form.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yes, because, in fact, I was my wife and your wife, I've come to find out, are very invested in the latest scandal. The latest scandal involving Vanderpump Rules and all things Bravo. And the wife is watching something on Peacock, some Bravo show, and they insert 30-second ads here and there. And there was one for Creed, and it was very clearly aimed at women, women, because the message was, hey, just tell your boyfriend it's a boxing movie. And it was all slow motion shots of these fucking huge jack dudes just punching, just working out, doing the rope thing that Majors was doing. Remember that crazy?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
He was pretty good.
He was on. Yeah, that was that was down at Venice Beach.
Just tell your boyfriend it's a boxing movie. It's like, that's a good strategy.
I'm still a little bit lost as to what happened with. Are we to believe? I don't want a bunch of emails. Whether it's from
send him
Giovanni.
Send him.
Like Apollo, I don't remember Apollo walking out on his kid. How did he end up? Whatever.
I think in this world,
was it after he died?
He had a kid because he had a different wife in Rocky 4 than Felicia Rashad. But I think this is a child that he had in a previous marriage or previous relationship.
You know what would have been cool?
What?
That Lou scene. For those who saw the movie, you know what I'm talking about. The scene with that Lou character out in front of the liquor store.
Oh, yeah, Luther. Was it Luther?
I think it's called him Lou.
Okay.
Imagine if Lou was played by Mr. Huxtable. Huh? That That would be pretty good.
That'd be a real coup.
All right, couple questions before we move on.
What do you want to know?
There's a scene where a boxer named Felix gets punched in the face, gets essentially knocked out.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And everyone's freaking the fuck out.
Right.
Oh, you hate to see this. He got hurt.
Oh, you're about the elbow? You're talking about the elbow?
The elbow came first, and then he gets punched in the face.
Okay.
And, I'm not going to tell, it is what it is. Felix is a character in this movie. He's a boxer. Mm-hmm. He takes a lot of punches in this movie. At one point, he takes a punch. I'm not spoiling anything, I don't think. He goes down to the ground, and the announcers and everyone in the crowd is flabbergasted that he got punched. He might be bleeding from the nose, and he's on the ground. And it's not like there's no celebration. There's no like he got knocked out, which is what happened. They're just like, holy shit. Oh, you hate, as though he was a basketball player, as though he was bowling and slipped up.
No context for how he fell down.
It's like, that's what happens in almost every boxing match that I see.
I don't remember.
That's why you're watching.
Yes.
I don't remember the, you hate to see that. I will say that I think the audience is flabbergasted because the guy who knocked out.
Oh, no, I'm not going down that road. No, it was all about the reaction from the announcers in particular. It was like, oh, he got hurt. He took a punch right to the face.
I don't remember that specifically.
That was confusing to me.
Okay.
And I thought that was just not
was that the old people
writing.
behind you?
No, it was.
He took a punch right
in
to
the movie, Brian. I could be watching it at home by myself. I would have heard these things. Another time, later in the movie, the same announcer, I believe, says you can feel the tension, which bugged me a lot. It was like within 5 minutes, and that was his big statement. You can absolutely feel the tension here, folks.
I will say they probably should have paid up to get some more recognizable faces doing the announcement.
They had Showtime. Maybe those are Showtime guys. I don't know.
They are.
They had Showtime branding all over this fucker. Finally. Okay.
They should just get Petros to do it.
Petros would be great. Former guest
of the show, that's right.
The house that he lived in.
He had his list on his arm.
Fantastic house. That house.
Great house.
Great house. Yeah, great views of LA that I've never even seen.
That was the co-star.
Finally, I don't watch boxing anymore. Michael Buffer was the last time that I checked in.
Yep.
Who's this dude with the dreads? Who's the white dude with the dreads?
Oh, yeah, he's the guy.
Is that a guy? Is that the guy?
You know what? That's a good question. I don't know. I did not recognize that person.
White guy who
but
looks like
he had the voice and the diction.
He did.
Clearly, he's done it before.
But he obviously does lots of drugs, and he's not the kind of guy that you would want to leave your girlfriend
He's
with.
not the buttoned-up Michael Buffer.
No, he's not. He looks like he just got back from some kind of bohemian, hedonistic cruise or something, and he wants to tell you all about it in between announcing.
He lived in a yurt for a week.
Guy freaks me out. He freaks me out.
Is it this?
It looks like he's appropriating 7 or 8 different. That could be him. That's just his hair's down. They had him more buttoned up, I guess, for the movie. It was like it was turban. I'm like, why is he wearing a turban made of hair? Oh, that is his hair.
Yeah. At first, I was like, what is this dashiki he's wearing?
Yeah. Okay. I just had some questions. I was hoping I'd get some answers. I have no answers. All right, maybe he's a black dude. I don't know. He looks more like Drexel from
Drexel Spivey. Was it White Boy
True Romance to me.
David Diamante.
David Diamante.
We sound like idiots.
No, absolutely. To people who love boxing, to people who have Mike Tyson tattooed on their forearm, yeah.
It'd be like someone who would never watch football and be like, who's this Al Michaels guy?
It'd be like somebody who's never been in the world. Like, who's this Donald Trump? Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, but even then with the dreads, I mean, it was still upsetting when Michael Jordan had the Hitler stash. Doesn't matter who you are.
No, I feel like he
can have upsetting. You can have upsetting.
Not Michael B. Jordan, but Michael V.
Yes, Michael V.
Jordan. Oh,
bad.
That is good.
How disrespectful to Michael B.
God, he was jacked in this movie.
He really was. He was more jacked up.
His shoulder, his fucking delts were huge.
How many steroids are they doing?
A lot.
There's no way.
Tuna.
Yeah, that's all they're doing. Just broccoli.
Yeah, just omega-3.
You can look like that in 8 weeks.
Flaxseed oil.
I think, if Jonathan Majors wasn't a star before this movie, I think he's a star now. I love this guy. I loved his performance.
He's great. It's a good month for him.
And the Fanflickssions, I know, it's kind of strange, huh? Fanfliction. I liked him a lot in Quantumania, but he really brought a different character and a different flair. Dude, he's got charisma.
He was the best part of that movie. He was the best part of this movie.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah. Can't wait to see him in more stuff.
All right.
Like good things.
Let's go.
No, that was a good movie.
I was doing sign language for Let's Go, but I don't know what it is. That's probably.
You probably offended
a few people who aren't
deaf
listening.
people who are listening to the podcast. Do we have subtitles so people can enjoy the show?
On YouTube,
I think we do, yeah.
Good. All right, let's transition. We were assigned a movie.
Mm-hmm.
We signed a couple movies.
Mm-hmm.
We saved Babyteeth, right?
We saved Babyteeth, right?
We saved Babyteeth, right?
We did.
Baby
yeah, you gotta
teeth!
pull
We're
up
doing
the-
Babyteeth right now. We're not going to go straight into Oscar. All right,
Okay,
let's
I'll
do
do it.
it.
I'll
Let's
do
do
it
it.
again.
Let's do the
I'll do
Babyteeth.
it
You're
again.
right.
Where
You're
are we
absolutely
on?
no
Where are we
Babyteeth. Let's do Babyteeth. Nick eats cake. Assigned us Babyteeth. Long time coming because we talked about it last week. Let's do a little Babyteeth.
2020 film directed by Shannon Murphy in her feature directing debut. Eliza Scanlon as the titular. No, Eliza Scanlon, Toby Wallace, S.B. Davis, and Ben Mendelsohn are in this Australian film. 94% Rotten Tomatoes. Streaming on Hulu. If you have a Hulu membership, you can watch this right now as part of your subscription. This notably, and I learned in my research, swept the Australian Oscars amongst the many awards that it won. Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, and Best Supporting Actress, and Best Screenplay. It really did very well. And yet I never heard of it.
Yeah, I mean, you've heard of it because I'm sure brought it up. And I mean, if you're around movies, you heard about this movie. It was making a little bit of noise a few years ago.
I don't like movies so much.
All right, so it's based on a play, which it did not feel like it was based on a play at
No.
all, as far as I could tell. I did not see anything.
I didn't-
And we've been talking about movies that are based on plays, and The Whale this year,
Right.
which is up for
There's only so
awards,
much
and
you can do.
I do like The Whale quite a bit, but I can recognize that it was, even if I didn't know going in that it was based on a play, you recognize that
Right.
pretty quick. This is what you can do with a movie that's based on a play:
Right.
make you forget or never know that it has anything to do with a play because it's cinematic and you can put the camera wherever you want and make cuts and do all the stuff that plays can't do. All right,
Well
so
done.
this is got similar vibes to Dinner in America, which is a very good thing.
Yeah.
Not nearly as silly as Dinner in America, but similar vibes as far as themes and whatnot. Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl definitely comes to mind if you're a fan of that one.
Even a little bit. What was the Australian movie we loved so much from like 20 years ago? 30 years ago. The one, is it called King
Hanging at
Castle?
Picnic Rock,
No, the one with the family.
Castle?
He's dreaming.
The Castle.
He has the castle.
Yeah, Castle.
He's got a little bit of that. Just the tight-knit family. You know what I mean?
So the story is this:
He's dreaming.
she's sick, right? She's young. She's like 16 years old, I think. She plays a 16-year-old. She's got a couple parents who are they're good parents. She lives in a middle-class family with a middle-class neighborhood.
I would
Everything's
say
totally
upper middle class. Oh,
totally-
no, I don't know Australian
I
life
wouldn't
that
say
much,
that.
but he's a therapist, and they seem to have a very nice house.
Do they? It seemed like a house. Whatever.
It had a patio built into it.
They live in the suburbs, and
No, they don't.
where do they live?
They live in the middle of the fucking. They have a fucking pool that lets out into a forest.
Right, they live. They don't live in the town.
It's upper middle.
They don't live in the city. That's all I'm saying, Brian. You just say suburbs. There's plenty of suburbs that. You know what happens when the suburbs end?
What's that?
Woods. No, they don't. They don't live in the suburbs. There's woods. What the fuck's wrong with you, Brian?
Could be
do
a
they
suburb.
live like in Kaczynski Town? Do they live
I
out?
don't know what that means.
Ted Kaczynski. Do they live like next to his fucking?
I thought you were saying like a derogatory term for Australians.
No.
Kaczynski Town.
Where's your mind? You're constantly,
Like
your mind's
Hymy Town.
constantly floating like what could be
Remember when
offensive to a
remember
large
when
swath of people.
Jesse Jackson called it Hymy Town?
All right, so listen to me. I haven't said listen to me in a while. Ben Mendelsohn, he's probably the most recognizable fella in here, right?
Probably.
He plays the dad. He's a good dad. He's a therapist, like Brian said, right?
Yeah.
And they have a daughter who you learn fairly early on that she's sick.
Yeah, she's not doing well.
No, she's sick in the sense, in the same way that's like Fault in Our Stars.
Well
Except this is good, right?
That was a good movie.
And ultimately what happens is, she's coming of age. She's, meeting different people. She meets this guy early on in the movie, but, she's got other interest in here and there. But then she kind of lands on Toby Wallace. She's 16. She's sick. He's 22 or 23, I
Right,
think.
Moses, right?
Moses. He's got a face tattoo. He's got a long rat
he has
tail.
many tattoos.
He wears shirts very seldomly. He is a gutter punk.
What he does wear doesn't fit.
He's hanging out with her because he likes her cancer medication.
Ill-fitting.
And the parents are cool with it.
Well, no, initially
Because they
they're
kind of
not.
have to be.
Initially, they're not.
Ultimately, it's like a look at the
There's
worst ever Make-A-Wish
There's an
for a 16-year-old girl.
uneasy truce there's an uneasy truce that's forged. Basically, hey, our daughter may not have much time left. This is clearly what she wants. We don't want this, but who are we to stand in her way?
Right. And it's fucking beautiful. It's a great movie with great characters and
forgot.
great dialogue, and it's heartbreaking. And
So
Toby Wallace is a godsend.
Explain how
Eliza
Moses makes money.
Scanlon is what's that?
Explain how Moses makes a living.
Why don't you? You go ahead.
Well, I'm looking.
I've talked a lot.
Okay. Moses is an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
He steals prescription medication and basically resells it.
I mean, I kind of alluded to
stronger
that.
the better.
Yeah, and that's one of the main reasons why he's hanging out with her. So we're giving away a lot, probably about halfway through the movie. There's a lot. We gave away a whole lot of the movie.
I don't think
that
so.
said, we gave you fair warning last week. You should watch this thing. Chances of you having heard much about this in the last few years, if you're not from Australia, like Brian said. So you should. What we said does not ruin this movie. You're going to love these characters. Chances are you're going to really enjoy these characters.
Yeah. These are rich characters. The mom and the dad, everyone's really well developed.
It's just really, really well done. And now, also, what's interesting is you watch this movie, and if you're like me, you kind of recognize, and it got me really thinking after the fact too. This feels like a Sundance movie through and through. In the way that, in the best possible way.
Yeah, it did not play at Sundance.
It didn't play at Sundance, right? But I was thinking about it. It's like
a world premiere at the Venice International Film
Which
Fest.
is better than Sundance for a lot of people's money, right? But it got me thinking. It got me thinking about how Sundance has had such a profound effect on movies over the last 25, 30 years that they've almost like their DNA is like deeply rooted in so many independent movies that we see, where I think a lot of movies will model themselves after Sundance movies and then be thought of as independent. This was definitely one of them, but it actually worked. So often, Honey Boy is an example of like a Sundance movie through and through that just didn't really work for me. I'm like, oh, you're trying so hard to be a Sundance movie with like, I can't even really put my finger. Usually it's
I liked elements of that movie a lot, but
long sections with no dialogue, and it's just vibe, and like, you know, it'll be like a sunset and like a couple characters running around like a field with broken glass. You know what I mean?
You're gonna like Close.
Is it a Sundance movie?
No, that's the more calm.
I mean, the worst. What's way worse than a movie masquerading as a Sundance movie, trying to get into Sundance, trying to look like a Sundance movie? Which I can't stand. Is a movie trying to look like a big Michael Bay movie with zero budget. That is the grossest thing you could possibly imagine.
You're really gonna hate my movie.
I hate those so much. They almost always have a gun on the poster.
Yeah.
So many dumb independent movies have like a gun. Usually a character like trained
pointing it at you.
Stop it, guys! Come up with something good.
Well, that's the marketing.
Yeah, it's their. I mean, all right. So, Babyteeth. Fantastic. Nick Eats Cake. Thank you very, very much. Nick Eats Cake.
Did you talk to Nick?
I've got his email.
Nick, could you read the email?
Yes.
Because Nick doesn't like to talk on the phone, like a lot of people don't, which I get.
So, why I assigned Babyteeth to the Film Vault. Babyteeth.
Wait, is that a summer vacation?
Yeah, he's got a little summer essay. Babyteeth is a 2019 Australian film based on a play. And I've assigned it to Anderson and Bryan because I think it shines in every aspect, including its writing, directing, acting, cinematography, soundtrack, and score. Also, I find it impressive that this was Shannon Murphy and Eliza Scanlon's feature film debut, with Murphy as a director and Scanlon as an actor. Scanlon plays the central character Mila, and very excited to hear what the guys think of her performance, as well as Ben Mendelsohn and Essie Davis in the roles of her parents, and Toby Wallace as the character Moses. Babyteeth beautifully examines a family grappling with deeply distressing and complicated issues while simultaneously documenting the whirlwind excitement of first love. And the fantastic handheld camera work brings remarkable intimacy to its story and characters. I also think the movie does a great job incorporating the levity that Anderson and Bryan tend to love, as it deals with exceptionally weighty subject matter. As of now, I've seen Babyteeth 3 times, and I absolutely adore it. And I hope the guys are glad to have also gone along for the ride. Love you guys. Nick Eats Cake.
It's a heavy movie.
Nick's totally right. I mentioned it briefly, but yes, the performances were great, top to bottom, all four. Even Toby, the neighbor, was great. In a much smaller role, of course. But Eliza Scanlon, I was surprised to just learn now this is her first role. I probably could have looked that up. But she was fantastic. The mom was great. S.B. Davis. Ben Mendelsohn, always great. Beyond reproach. And, of course, Toby Wallace as Moses. Everyone was very good in this movie.
Very good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Highly recommend. Not since Dating Amber have I liked a movie that I didn't think I would like.
Dating Amber.
Yeah. That was thanks to you, Brian.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Such a good movie, that Dating Amber.
It really was.
Really enjoy that Dating Amber. Just want to tell you that.
Okay.
Hey, we got to take a quick break to confuse you, and we'll be right back after these words.
Well, Natalie Wells, huh?
Yeah,
That's right.
getting after it.
Enjoy her music. Welcome back. Time to go for some more movies that we one assigned, one Oscar movie. You want to do the Oscar movie?
Yeah, let's do it.
All the Beauty and the Bloodshed. All the Beauty and the Bloodshed is a 2022 film, documentary directed by Lauren Poitras. Hope I pronounced that right. With the subject being Nan Goldin. Nan is a famous, celebrated art in the art world, a photographer. She's had her work displayed in many galleries. This film sits at 95% of Rotten Tomatoes. You can rent this as of very recently. And yes, it is nominated for Best Documentary Feature.
Yes.
Opens with a large group, almost like a flash mob, but it's a large group protest.
It's a flash mob.
Inside the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the Met, inside the Sackler wing. And if you know anything about the Sackler family, you know the controversy that goes along with them. We learn very quickly that Nan Goldin herself had a Oxycontin problem, like addiction, I don't know what you want to call it. But the Sacklers are almost single-handedly responsible for introducing OxyContin to this country and the world, and perhaps if you subscribe to that point of view, the opioid crisis that we currently find ourselves in.
Which is a big deal.
Indeed.
It's killing many, many people, as you'll learn if you don't know yet by watching this documentary. You should also say that Laura Poitras directed our favorite Citizen 4 from a few years ago.
Was that our favorite?
Can we call that directing when you're sitting next to a man on a bed for a day?
Propping up a camera.
So this movie, we already talked about Creed, how it's got its feet in two different films. This one absolutely does. This is a movie that wanted to be more about Nan Goldin and her legacy. It wanted to be that more than, I think, the more interesting of the two stories, which is the opioid epidemic and the Sackler family's involvement and some comeuppance that they were after.
This is one of those rare instances on the Film Vault where you and I are going to be totally in lockstep, because I'm like, I'm losing my mind with boredom during the Nan Goldin, the golden years.
I want to call it boredom. I think
tedious.
you got to be in the right state of mind and have the right people and the right vibe and the right tempo for that to sustain itself. And they couldn't do that because they kept going to something more interesting. And then they dip back in. Now, if the whole movie was just about it reminded me that the stuff about her legacy and about where she came from and her past reminded me a little bit of that Todd Haynes film from last year that I liked a little bit more than you, about the Velvet Underground. I think it might have been called The Velvet Underground, actually. With Lou Reed, and you suffered through
Lou
that
Reed
as well.
documentary. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the problem with this movie. And they thought that there wasn't enough for either or to make one, two different movies.
Sure.
So they made one. And ultimately, neither one worked for me, and I really disliked this movie a lot. And I was excited when it ended. That was my favorite part by far. It's not even one of those ones where it would have been better. I would have liked it more if it was better, because it didn't even approach that for me. Now, if you respond to certain things in culture and this is your vibe right now, or I think it is a young person's vibe, perhaps. Maybe I'm sounding older, but what this movie doesn't have is fucking teeth, right? And they go after the Sacklers, and I don't want to give anything away, but there is a comeuppance.
But that is way too small a part of the movie, which we agree on.
I think that's why it couldn't be its own thing. And Nan, maybe she deserves her own, or maybe she doesn't, because as this movie proves, it's just that was the more boring part of the two halves. The Sacklers have been. They're multi-billionaires, right? And they have all this money from First Valium, and as you'll learn from this documentary, and most people, I think, are at least aware of the Sacklers and what they've done. And
I think you probably heard I would say most people have heard the name.
What the documentary never told me while I was watching it is, yes, the Sackler. I don't think that they're good people, right? However, I've heard
very, very one-sided.
Very one-sided. But I've heard tell that they knew from the inside, much like the cigarette companies did, that that it was incredibly addictive and it was going to kill people. And they said, that's great. It's going to drive sales even more. Then that never came into play. All that came into play was this is an evil company who came up with pain medication, which I'm a true believer of the fact that pain medication can do good if it doesn't make you into a fucking addict. And I know of plenty of people who are addicts, and I've lost friends, so I'm not making light of this at all. But they don't look to make a pain medication that's going to relieve your swollen, hurt knee, hoping that you're going to die 2 years from now from addiction and buy a bunch on the street. That's not.
They'd like you to be a customer for life, and they didn't keep buying the pills for years.
They didn't make their case for her hatred, other than a lot of people have died because of their medication, and that would have been more interesting. Just a little more background, like she tried to, or other people who have tried to get answers from these people, and. I was just frustrated and angry by the end of the movie.
It's funny because that part didn't frustrate me at all. I found the Sackler stuff, her crusade against them. She wants to get their names. Sorry, backing up a step. They're very wealthy, like Anderson said, worth billions and millions of dollars, this family. And as such, they've donated many, many millions of dollars to many museums.
Yes.
So many museums have the Richard Sackler wing, and this woman Nan Golden being an artist,
from the inside,
a photographer, being celebrated in these museums. Obviously, this rubs her the wrong way, and she's like, "This cannot be." And so her crusade is to get these names of the Sackler family taken off of these exhibits. Or wings or whatever. And so that is her crusade. I found that compelling, at least because it was a personal crusade. She was driven to do it. She felt compelled to do it, like she was put on this earth to do it. And I responded to that passion. I was like, all right, this is this woman's mission on this earth. But that was maybe 40% of the movie. The majority of it was just a celebration of Nan Golden and her incredible photography. I'm kind of making
rough life. I'm
kind of making air quotes. That was actually pretty compelling too, because the photography was, I don't know. Not for me, but also took up an insane amount of time. There's an hour of this movie dedicated to showing photographs.
And ultimately, it's speaking out of turn perhaps a little bit, because I'm not. I'm sure there's photographers that are listening, or maybe some would even agree. A lot of just full frame of her photographs, and so many of them that I saw, it's like I could take a picture that looks better than that right now from my bed with what we have with technology, right? So you got to be careful of thinking those kinds of things.
I thought the same thing, not about myself taking better pictures, but of like, these photographs are not remarkable in any way.
A lot of them are like mistakes.
So, like literally snapshots, like your uncle would have taken.
She had access to a certain.
That said, I think she gets a lot of mileage out of documenting an era and a subculture that was being ignored by a lot of people, and thus, I guess, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I found them to not be all that compelling. Thankfully, there's only an hour's worth.
This is just, and this is the kind of movie that depresses me and upsets me when I see all of the accolades and all the people, the 95%. And it's not I don't think it's a good movie. It should not be anywhere approaching 95%. But hey,
it's be up for an Oscar.
Maybe it's just, I know, and it's up for an Oscar. I watched this with the wife too, and
she must have loved that.
She actually, and I caught her doing what I do all the time, which she always gives me shit. She's like, "How arrogant can you be to actually say that people don't like things that they just feel like they have to say that they like them?" I'm like, "I'm pretty arrogant, but I still stand behind that." Yeah. She was saying during the movie, she's like, "Are people just afraid to say they don't like things like this?" I'm like, "They might be. That could be what's going on here."
This is heavily steeped in the art world, and thus I think it got a baseline.
No one's likable. I mean? No one's there to root for.
Yeah, who do you like in this?
Nobody.
I liked the blonde woman who was like her sidekick. You know what I mean? In the Sackler crusade, I found her kind of sweet.
Yeah,
but she's on screen for all.
She was
like
a
11
bit
minutes.
of a sycophant, though.
Yeah,
a lot of sycophants were dripping off of her at all times, and she just seemed miserable. Like I would never want to have a coffee with that woman.
Can you imagine being like a dinner with her?
Yeah,
like a small dinner party of like 12 people.
No. And before you get on my ass about it, it's because she's a woman. No, I say this about horrible.
No, she's insufferable.
Insufferable men
plenty
all
of
the time.
Plenty of male artists.
Yes.
She loved Joan Waters though.
Yeah, I wanted more John Waters shots. John Waters kind of discovered her almost, or he gave her.
They were in the same circle, I guess.
I feel like
art scene.
his involvement with her helped her because he was already fairly established. And then, the love affairs, which I didn't give a fuck about. Obviously she was in love with that one woman, and it was going to end tragically, and that was like telegraphed. It's like, oh, here we go, and am I supposed to feel something?
Cookie?
Because I don't care about Cookie.
No, Cookie was from the Waters movies.
Yeah, but she loved her.
Oh no, it's a different woman she loved.
She loved a number of women.
She loved a number
throughout.
of women. Yeah, that's true. Avery, do you want to see this based on our review?
Oh, absolutely.
This is a movie
4K
that
Blu-ray.
I paid $5.
I was really curious.
20's a steal.
I paid $5.99.
I didn't see this because this is one of those few that intersect, Brian, because it was on a lot of people's top 10 lists as well. So that was on my list,
Really?
just making sure that I wasn't missing out on anything. And it happens to
year.
be an Oscar. Yeah. And honestly, this is the one that if I hadn't paid for it, if it wasn't right around Oscar time, I would have dipped out like 35. You know exactly what movie it is, 25, 30 minutes in. And it's just, it wasn't made for me. I'm sure there's some people out there that love it. Enjoy it. Hey, if you love it so much, go watch it again. And then again. You got it for if you rent it, you got 48 hours to watch it as many times
Do you
as you
think
like.
that's anyone's addiction?
You
Is
know what,
watching
though?
this movie?
Watching this movie.
You know what though? If you love this art scene and Nan Goldin and all of this movie's not going to tell you anything you didn't know, right? Like there's just a profile. It's ostensibly for us because I didn't know who Nan Goldin was.
Yeah, I'm sure I learned a couple things.
Her upbringing was interesting. I will say that part was very.
That could be like
compelling.
a dramatic film, right? That
Totally
told right and cast right. It made me want to watch Basquiat. It's been too long since I've seen Basquiat, which there's some overlap there, and I absolutely love Julian Schnabel's Basquiat from a number of years ago.
There's a shot of Jean-Michel.
Yeah, real quick, of course, it's obligatory almost, right? Like he was there too.
That's right. She took a photograph of him.
Didn't get any play at all. Was Warhol. Warhol was nowhere to be found.
Oh,
I wonder if she hates him.
Dissed.
I wonder if she hates that guy.
Actually,
I wonder if she
it's
read
interesting
the
'cause
manifesto.
Although he would have been very famous, but well, you know what though? You're right. They must have run in the same circles at a certain point.
Interesting. Bet you hated him. All right, let's move on to something much better than all the fucking beauty and the bloodshed. Just give me the bloodshed or the beauty, all right?
I don't want it all.
I don't want both.
I want selected best beauty in bloodshed.
Plus, there wasn't any beauty. Let's be honest.
Well, no, actually, you know what? I was thinking of you because there was some magnificent architecture in some of those Sackler wings.
Some of the
Some of
wings,
those
yeah.
are really nice. I was like, wow, this is really well done. This is like a museum unto itself.
To see a window that used to say Sackler not say Sackler anymore, I mean, that's just not satisfying.
Low stakes.
You know what I
Low
mean?
stakes.
Dramatic.
Like that was like one of the ending shots. Is like, look at the window is now bare.
Well, it's good screenwriting. Show don't tell.
It's true. I think they're actually voiceover and talking about how great it is.
Yeah.
It's no longer there.
Can you believe it? I think Can You Believe It is uttered.
Yeah. And there's plenty of fights to be had in this country, and they're ongoing, and many horrific people's names are all over things that they shouldn't be, because there's a lot of injustices and gross and ugly, horrible people at the top. We know that. It's probably a good article.
After watching this, are you afraid that Bryan will be nominated for an Oscar?
No, not
It's
at all.
on the table.
Not at all. He has his foot in one movie, and that is up his ass. It's all completely, deeply firm, rooted in Brian's world. The Brian
Is there a
world.
world where I can get best actor?
First time ever a man was nominated for Best Actor in a documentary about himself. Here's the titular growth.
And the Oscar for guy we
That's
liked
right.
the most.
That's right.
goes to-
And an Oscar for affable fellow.
Stop recounting your dream from last night. All right.
I have had. Anyway. Okay, let's talk about final film.
Yes.
Who assigned this to us?
You should have the name right there.
I don't.
It's in there.
Robert Jarosinski.
I don't have my notes open. I have my notes open.
Robert Jarosinski.
Oh, yeah, I love Robert. He assigned us Rudderless, Rudderless, less than Rudderful. 2014 film directed by William H. Macy, starring Billy Crudup, Anton Yelchin. Moment of silence.
You just got to sneeze. That's disrespectful. The man's dead, and you're going to try and pass off a moment of silence
I thought it
to buy yourself time to sneeze.
That's divine intervention. The late Anton Yelchin. Felicity Huffman, Lawrence Fishburne, Selena Gomez, and William H. Macy in his own film. Ironically, this is the lowest Rotten Tomato score of all of our films this week, but I enjoyed this movie maybe the most.
Babyteeth.
Up there with Baby. It's up there with Babyteeth. 63% of Rotten Tomatoes. Shocking. You can rent this. I'll tell you what, Anderson. Very few notes. Very few notes.
Goes down pretty smooth.
This is an enjoyable film.
All right, now I actually have in my notes. Careful, Brian.
All right.
Careful.
All right.
Now I talked to Jarosinski. He told me he doesn't know how to pronounce his name.
Oh.
I should know because I talked to Robert weekly. He's part of my weekly gathering of the minds. He's a producer on a film I think I told you about. Which is getting some steam. You're going to be hearing all sorts about the next project, all stuff about the next project that Jarosinski is involved with, possibly as early as next week or the week after.
All right.
Excited.
Is this the project where you usurped my my resource?
Yes. I have some misgivings about how I'm going to have to hear about that throughout the entire process of this next project. But
this is
it helps the listeners.
This is butter in a moose bouche.
Ultimately, it helps the listeners. So, and more on that. I'm sorry to be so cryptic about it, but you guys will hear the full tale of what's going on there behind the closed doors and behind the scene. Good stuff.
Basically,
Good drama.
Anderson sent an email that said, "Will you fund me, Mo?"
No, I'm not funded. I definitely need help. I'm going to be reaching out, but more on that later. Let's talk Rudderless. Thanks to the assigner, Robert Jarosinski.
I got no notes.
So it's a movie about a father who was buttoned up. He works at an ad agency, and we are introduced
He's
to him.
He's a little bit of the Jim Cummings character from what's the most recent one?
Babyteeth.
Babyteeth, yes, he's a little bit of that guy.
I could use a little bit more. I mean, that's one of my notes. Is like I would have liked to see him a little bit more buttoned up. I would have liked to have seen like he's still Billy Crudup. He's still like said, hey, we're pulling an all nighter. We're getting some takeout, and we're gonna stay here all night. Say, call the wife and kids and tell them you're not gonna be home. But he did it with a smile.
We're saying the same thing, but he was very buttoned up. You're right, but it's not in a. He's the head of a marketing agency, a creative agency. So he's constantly pitching and he's like celebrating his
Suit
pitches.
and tie.
Yeah.
Concurrently, his son is in college.
He drives a very nice car.
His son is in college, and his son is living in the dorms, and he too is pulling an all-nighter, but it's to write songs. And we're doing the cross-cutting back and forth. There are two lives going on at the same time, and they're very similar. However, one is a businessman, the other one's an artist. Flash forward 15 minutes, and a tragedy befalls the son. We can leave it at that, I think.
That's right.
And Crudup's character, Sam, right? Is that his name? Sam?
I believe so.
Sam. He, needless to say, is no longer effective at his button-up job. He is very depressed, very sad.
This tragedy ruins his life.
And he...
or affects his life.
Gives up his life. Gives up his look, becomes somewhat of a stumble bum, beach bum, moves like 90 minutes away with really the only belongings he brought were like the shirt on his back and his son's, through a series of events, he comes across his son's recordings and writings of his music. And effectively, he starts doing that thing.
You didn't mention he's living on a houseboat.
He lives on a boat.
Or just a boat.
Just a boat.
A houseboat, yeah.
And he pees off it and lets everyone see his wiener. And the guy, Alistair, who
Wait, what movie is this?
And... effectively, it's really interesting. It's very interesting
That's the rudder.
Construct because we've all seen like fathers usually, daughters and mothers as well, but fathers trying to get their sons to follow in their footsteps and daughters as well. But you know what I'm saying? No. Like you got to be the star athlete that I never could be.
Yeah, it's a cliche. It's a cliche.
But it's reversed now, and he's following in his son's footsteps because his son no longer can. So he's living out his son's dreams with these songs. He meets Anton Yelchin, who thinks are the greatest fucking songs ever.
Hold on, slow down. You're going a little fast. So yes, the first act of this movie is, as Anderson described,
that was the end of the first act.
You got 12 minutes of the family, like the very together marketing executive in Billy Crudup. He drives the fancy car. He has the very nice suits. He's pitching. He's landing pitches. He wants to celebrate with his son, and he tries to connect with them, but a tragedy befalls.
We already went over all this.
Flash forward. He's living on a boat in the marina, and peeing off the side of the deck every morning to the chagrin of the dockmaster.
Alistair, yes.
Alistair, I liked Alistair. And
Alistair reminded me of you.
But he never could pronounce his name right.
That was a good bit.
That was a good running bit. Anyway, and then
the fact that Alistair always corrected him was the real bit.
Here comes Felicity Huffman. She's finalizing.
Doesn't matter how we got the shit. Why is this so important?
finalizing divorce papers. He goes, hey, I'm cleaning out the house. I'm selling the house. Sign this, please. And here's a bunch of shit that I found from our son. And please dispose of it or do something with it. I don't care. And he wants an ish. He's like, there's no room on the boat. Turns out it's a guitar. It's an amp. It's a whole bunch of his notes, like you said, recordings, demos. And he starts listening. And he's like, the subtext is, this is really good. Like, I'm going to go out and to the local open mic night and perform. And he does, and that's where he meets Anton Yelchin, who's like, who
he just retold everything I told with more.
You missed a lot of nuance. A lot of nuance. Anyway, and
there's a scene where you want to know how he comes across the music and the writings of his son. His ex-wife drops it off.
Right.
You didn't mention the wife enough.
You didn't mention the wife.
Or the harbor master.
That's right.
Well, I mean, she's paid for her child to get into college, so why should I?
The real life actress.
Yes,
that's good.
I'm trying to skirt the issue here.
So there's 11 people in the audience. Half of them are there to do some sort of open
more
mic
nuance.
And Anton Yelchin,
we're almost caught up.
As Crude Up is leaving, Anton Yelchin accosts him and said, "Man, that was incredible. Those are great songs. Why is this the first time I've ever seen you?" And he's like, "Oh, blah blah blah."
Beat it.
Yeah, and through a kind of the way I harangued you as doing this show.
Very similar, yeah.
That's right. Yelchin,
Anton Yelchin was you, and I was Billy Crudup.
He recognized the genius in himself.
Mm-hmm. And then ultimately, as you might imagine, the older Billy Crudup begrudgingly, starts to do a little music. And both of them are incredible musicians in real life, it turns out. I love when Hollywood can be like, oh, yeah, you rock stars, check this out. We're going to do what you guys do. For a story.
For fun.
For fun. Yeah. We're not going to make a living out of it or anything, but we could if we wanted to. Essentially. And I would go see that band. And I think you would too.
Yeah, they were good.
They were very good. More things happen. What I couldn't discern whether it was a twist or not is revealed. And I'm like, was I not reading? I couldn't tell if it was a twist or not. I wasn't sure if maybe I was just not paying close enough attention.
You weren't paying close enough. That was a major reveal.
Well, I understand that, but I didn't know if it was a reveal to dumbass me or if that was going to be a reveal to everyone or if it was purposeful. Because going back and talking to Robert earlier today, who's very versed in this movie, Rudderless, I was going over counting all the little clues and breadcrumbs that they did leave the audience. If you're paying close attention.
There were a few, yes. There were.
Well, we'll leave it at that, I think.
Hints.
Right? We'll leave it at that. Very powerful movie. Very good movie. Not a great movie. And I think part of that has to do with William H. Macy kind of mailing it in some places where he probably shouldn't have. Primarily the score. I was strongly opposed to the score. Strongly opposed. Score?
I don't remember.
I don't think he wrote the score, but as a director, you got to take care of making sure that you get what you need. And the score was aggressively toothless.
Baby toothless.
It screams Hallmark Channel at times, which this movie did not deserve.
Yeah.
No score would have been better, especially in a movie about music. The score was just so aggressively blah, vanilla.
Okay.
Maybe it was fear of it being dark subject matter. I don't know. And Robert and I were also talking about why this movie didn't break free more. And I'm sure the score didn't hold it back. The music didn't hold it back. Because the original music totally outweighs the shame of the poor score. But I think maybe we can't say here, but ultimately some of the subject matter might have just been a little bit too dark. Especially.
Also, you never, with what the subject matter ends up being, it's poorly timed. You know what I mean? Like you never can tell when it is going to be.
Yeah, well, okay, let's laugh. But yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. But what a fucking movie!
I enjoyed it. This is a really nice recommend.
Yeah, Babyteeth ekes it out this week for me as far as my favorite movie that I've seen this week. But I like Babyteeth, Rudderless, Creed 3 for it being what it is very, very good. Much better than most dumb boxing popcorn movies have to be. And All the Beauty in the Bloodshed, the worst movie I've seen all year.
So far? There's a real world's greatest dad angle here.
One of my least favorite movies of last year, I can tell you that. Yeah, there is. There absolutely is there's other movies that you could say that it's akin to, but I'm glad you're not. I
have written down. I'm almost foaming at the mouth.
I bet you are. Hey, were you ever going to see this Rudderless?
It sounds good.
It's really good. It's good. It's a very good movie.
We need to talk more about it.
Hey, Ween was represented in this movie as well.
I don't remember that.
They should have done the score.
Sticker?
There's a Ween poster. That poster that he connects.
Oh yes.
Flaming Lips. Ween. I was at that. I was on that.
Really?
I went to that tour.
No
I
shit.
saw that. The Flaming Lips and Ween. I saw them twice on the tour.
I saw that and I thought of you. The little Does that guy have a name?
Boognish.
Your tattoo?
The Boognish.
Oh, yeah, the Boognish. There you
Was the Boognish on there too? I just saw the name Ween
go. I could have sworn he was.
because it was a poster that Crudup recognized from his son's dorm
Right.
that Yelchin also has. And he's like, that's kind of like it was the crack that
Yep.
opened up the relationship.
right.
He's like, hey, I like this poster. And it was the Flaming Lips Ween Sonic Youth tour.
That's right. Sonic Youth is on there.
Good stuff. Ween. You got to love that. They should have got Ween to do the score. Ween's done scores before.
Scores of scores.
Scores of movies. Movie scores. All right. Hey, four movies talked about. 3 of them very good.
Going deep on these movies.
I'm
guys.
stacked too. I got some stuff for the next few weeks, kids.
As
I'm
do I.
stacked.
Hey, do we?
Bones and all will be talked about me. Maybe next
Oh,
week.
really? Do we have a listener assignment for next week?
We do. Akira will be watched by you and I.
Yeah.
Akira, thanks to Andrew Potts. Akira will be watched by you and I. And then Ryan wants to know, Reginball wants to know if you've seen Sorcerer.
No.
Billy freaking Sorcerer.
You recommended it. Or didn't you flick past it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I'm giving him the option of maybe assigning you that because it's criminal that you have not seen that. I'm getting too messed up
Criminal?
thinking about it right now. Sorcerer is the
I can
most
feel you from across the
tension
table.
filled movie I think I've ever seen. I think there's more tension in Sorcerer than I've ever seen. Based on Wages of Fear, which is a French film, which I still need to catch up on. And then I think it was last season in Mandalorian with the Bill Burr episode where they're
Yes.
transporting some stuff. They also did a version of Sorcerer and Wages of Fear.
Oh, I feel like I've seen it.
Holy fuck, it's good. You seen Sorcerer?
Yeah. No, I need to see Sorcerer.
Holy shit.
I've seen Mandalorian.
The fact that no one died on that set is just unbelievable. Billy Freakin was just a fucking maniac.
He's still alive, right?
He's still alive. He hasn't made a movie in a minute, so I'm just saying he was a maniac.
I heard he shadow directed Creed 3.
I didn't hear that.
Oh, really?
That would be
Did it
shocking.
come up in your research?
No. All right, so, okay.
Akira.
So Akira,
Streaming on Hulu, you guys, if you want to follow along.
we got a whole lot of Japanese animated films coming our way. The listeners are upset with us for having such a blind spot, so I feel like we're going to be on panels and stuff for manga by the time this is done.
My education starts today.
No, yeah.
That's right. I've been watching a few of these actually over the last few weeks. All right. That was good. I'm glad we got assigned a couple of cool movies. Creed 3 exceeded expectations, and all the beauty was what it was. Not sure.
And apologies if this movie. Look, I know that there's a slim possibility that I'm wrong, and that this movie is good, and it's just I'm too obtuse for it to penetrate. I also know that there's a possibility that you actually like this movie and you're not just lying to yourself. So please think of those two things while being enraged, and hopefully that alleviates some of your rage if you're listening to this and you can't stand this blowhard who thinks that you're saying that you like it because you're afraid of your friends thinking you're dumb, which is probably the case.
Wasn't it Homer Simpson? Ha ha ha! Brilliant! I have no idea what I just saw.
But
that was about Fire Walk with Me, wasn't it? Twin Peaks?
I think it was. I think you just brought that up like last week too.
I did?
Yeah, I think fairly recently.
What?
We were talking about something that
Could have been Eraserhead.
well, maybe it was.
Brilliant.
Richard Kind. He was like, what was that we just saw recently? Where he was the
Oh,
critic
yeah,
who agreed
yeah.
with.
He was the moderator. Was it Tar? No, it was before Tar.
Yeah. What was
But it was a female, and she was an academic of some sort, right?
No, it was a male. What was it?
What was it?
Son of a bitch. Yeah, he was like he was a.
Hold on. I'm looking at my. Read the credits.
Please. He wants you to.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Someone.
But he did it in a very rude manner.
It's
I was,
me
actually,
to
I was
do it.
talking to you.
Okay.
Thanks to all our Patreon listeners. Also, Giovanni, Mitch Burns, Mike Cole, and Eric
This is not how you
Cath.
do it.
Go ahead and you threw it to me. Check out Annie's Antiques. Thank you to our featured artist, Natalie Wells, is who you're listening to. Check us out on the socials, AndersonandBryan.com, Instagram, Anderson and Bryan, Facebook.com/TheFilmVault, Twitter @TheFilmVault, YouTube.com/TheFilmVault Podcast, and TikTok. We're on TikTok @Anderson and Bryan. I did it out of order, like I said. Thanks to everybody. Also, Comedy Confessional, massive success, oversold. Many people are saying it's the greatest show of all time.
Ever.
People were so desperate
I
to
don't
get in,
remember.
they left negative complaints because they couldn't get in because we were oversold.
Really? Mm-hmm. So they left you negative complaints? That's a good reason
They
to have
were
a complaint.
dying to get in.
If you're going to have a complaint, it's about not being able to get in. That's tick, tick, boom.
I was just about. I have it up right here. I'm pretty sure he was.
So here's what we just did, guys. I gave Bryan like a 60-second head start, and Bryan decided to rely only on his own notes. And I went to IMDb and looked up Richard Kind.
No, look, I'm looking at Wikipedia, man.
Wikipedia?
Because I
What movies did Brian Bishop see most recently? What?
I was looking at Richard Kind's filmography. And what we talked
IMDb, it's
about.
right there. It took me maybe 30 seconds.
Yeah, but I want to find out what role he played.
2021's Tick Tick Boom, which we were flickfasting right around this time last year, and yeah, it was the guy who was the guy that did all the
head. That's why I looked on Wikipedia. Head of the musical theater workshop. I disagree. Actually, I agree.
Yeah, like I think it was one of the most boring and slog. Oh, I thought it was genius. I too thought it was genius.
Enjoyed that.
All right, like what you like, guys. Just know why you like it and be able to back it up. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I know what I don't like. I know how to back it up, Brian.
Andrew Garfield.
It's your smugness. That's
Wait,
what I don't like.
What? All right.
Let's get out of here.
Is that all the nuts?
Yes, Andrew Garfield is in Tick Tick Boom. What was that?
I was reminding myself what Tick Tick Boom was. Andrew Garfield.
I
Lin-Manuel
still need to
Miranda.
see TikTok Boom, which is the documentary all about
TikTok,
TikTok
that's
taking
right.
over the world. All right, let's get out of here.
Until next time.
We do it for Van Gogh.